Hey, this is Tracy with Color Me This. We're on episode 14. I know I promised doing the metallics, but I got busy with these Arrtx 126 colored pencils with the bunnies, and I have made more progress with them than I have on the metallics. So I am going to give you an update and talk about my thoughts so far with these pencils. These are one of the pencils that people say are close to Prismacolors, and I am not a Prismacolor coloring person. I do have a set, and I did bring out one Prismacolor from its case. The only thing I've done with them is swatch, and I'm going to share what I have completed thus far. So I did get a full set swatched. This is on the Nina Smooth. Here's what the colors are. They are very vibrant and intense. The intensity of the colors is a little more, to me, like Light Fast or Pablo than when I swatched the Prismas. They go down less like a crayon and more a little bit drier than the Prismas. Just one sec, I'll be right back. Hub is up. All right, I'm back. Hub is up because he needs to put away everything since we hear thunder. Every afternoon we get thunderstorms, pretty much almost every day. Okay, so I felt when I was making these swatches, and by the way, these are just this vibrant without any blender to make them that vibrant. So that is lovely. And so in the vibrancy values, to me, the Light Fast pencils came out the most vibrant with the little of effort as I put into these to get these. There was no need to do the light layers, though I still am I have a light hand. So within, I don't know, 3 to 5 layers, these were totally saturated and solid on this very smooth paper. So they actually go onto smooth paper quite nicely. And I decided that the project that I would color, I was going to use the Prang as my base. So I had the frogs that I already shared with you, and I have 2 of the 3 frogs colored in the Arrtx, and I thought I want to stop and give you guys an update on these and what I feel. So one of the things I do love to do is use resources found on the internet, and so I found this wonderful color combinations, which I love to make color combos for samples for myself, and then to refer to when I'm doing colored projects. So this particular coloring, this is just a free downloadable from coloringqueen.net. So you might want to pop over there and see what she has to offer. And I did these blends. They are absolutely wonderful. This is something that I do when I'm sitting, when I do the swatches and things like these color combinations. I will do them while sitting and watching, streaming something on the TV. So I sit in my recliner. So now I am back here sitting at my desk doing some different comparisons, and I want to share these are the 6 colors to do the dark skin. So I grabbed the 6 of them, and I was curious on how close they are to matching the color of the barrels. I'm adding a little bit of light here so you can see it all of a sudden the sun went away because we have thunder and lightning. But I have a variety of pencils here and some swatching that I did to decide if I really agreed with myself that my initial inclination was that the Arrtx actually feel most like Pablo's when you put them down. I grabbed some similar colors in a variety of brands, all the high-end brands. I did pull Prisma just to make sure, because I am not familiar with Prisma, and sure enough, the Prisma, you can see that the Light Fast and the Prisma actually go down very crayon-like. The Luminance actually almost does as well. So Pablo was the closest match to the feel of the Arrtx to give you guys a baseline, and the Luminance as well was a pretty close match. The Light Fast and the Prisma, so the Light Fast feels closest to the Prisma just today, not in, I've never done a test in the past where I colored with both of them to see how similar they were. So you can take that with a grain of salt. Everybody's going to think differently about how their pencils feel. I felt that the Polychromos actually felt very much praying-like, light layers to get this solid look. They color very lightly the first layer that you do, and that's the way the prangs are, though the prangs did a really nice job after you got your layers going. And then to do that final pop of color, I feel that the blending pencil works really well to bring out the pop in the color. So as far as the color of the barrels, I will show you the last set that I did. I didn't finish the hair tones. I stopped at the dark skin because when I do these, I will be doing flicking to try to get the gradients and have it look like single strands of hair, which is very different than how I colored all the rest of these. And if you're curious why these two rows are together, when I started at the top, I started coloring at the bottom. For some reason, it made sense to me when after I would do the individual colors, I would then do the gradient. And I also did the gradients up here, light to dark. So I'm not all that consistent. So I should have started daffodil on the top thin row. So what I did down here to be different is I went ahead and did the sand antique gold, pretty purple orange, sunshine, and burnt orange on the fat one so that I could have room for doing this bottom row. And I think the hair I'm going to do in the fatter square so that I have more real estate to do the flicking to get the hair strand. So I'm going to do that at another time. And the colors here for the dark skin, we had 6 colors. I believe that this, yep, that's sienna brown. So I have a very hard time in general reading the numbers. These are the pencils, and all you have to read is this little very tiny number and the color name. I can see the color name pretty well, but I have to put my reading glasses on to read the numbers. So it's possible that I will want to go back through and do stickers with the color number. I don't think I need the name, but definitely I'm probably going to come back through and layer or add the number. So the gradient goes for all 6 colors. The lightest one is called beige. The second lightest is light peach. 6076 burnt ochre. Sienna brown and dark brown. And what I'm finding just looking at these 6 colors is the peach and light peach are like, one looks pink and one looks yellow. So I thought, well, I'm gonna see how close the colors match. And I didn't grab that color. I picked this brown here called burnt ochre. So, and it even looks like the 6080, and I don't know, you tell me, this looks very red to me. So I had to, knowing, and I'd already heard that the colors of the barrels don't match all that close. And the beige being the lightest color, followed by this light peach, I feel that this barrel for the beige is very dark compared to the tip. It doesn't really match the tip at all. And then even if you look at the tips, this brown one, the color of the tip is lighter. than the barrel. So that's my thoughts on those three. So I was very careful and I had to look. This is why we need to swatch every kind of pencil, any set of pencils that you get. Make yourself a swatch, even if it's just really casual, with the numbers next to them, so that you can not go by the tip and not go by the barrel, because it can't really be trusted. So when I had the Arrtx burnt ochre, which is this color here, I'm getting more light because it's getting dark. I feel that the barrel is awfully dark. Right below it, I have the burnt ochre Prisma, which is a matching color, and I pulled the pencil out, and that is the color, and I feel like it's closer, and I don't know, you tell me, am I being way too picky? But I feel like this Arrtx barrel is pretty dark for the color that it is. And the Prisma is darker than the burnt ochre, but the barrel matches more closely, I think, actually, to both of them. But it is still too dark, I think, for the Arrtx pencil. So I just wanted to point out that the colors definitely don't match. If you look at the peach, this barrel is way too dark, and even the tip is way darker than the laydown that you get. So let's look at the light peach. I think the light peach, the barrel is pretty orange compared to the color that you get. And maybe the barrel, or I mean the tip is okay. It's still a little on the dark side to me. And I'm looking for the beige. So here is the beige barrel, and that is the color intensity that you get, and it actually much more closely matches the tip than it does the barrel, which is very tan, almost like the color of my desk. So that is that. And I still, just for giggles, I didn't even do a color match on the Pablos. I have a cheat guide from My Colorful Country Life. She has done a dozen colored pencils, and I have printed out the one that didn't have Arrtx, but she doesn't have the Pablos for color match, so I just like grabbed one, and I am going to color with it. I still feel, when I color, Pablo was the thing that popped into my head, and that is the closest match. Both are the same, I guess, dryness. I will say that a couple of the colors are more sticky. You'll see that these saturated blues, it's probably the more pigment you have, they feel more real sticky rather than powdery. So amongst the set, there's going to be a variation in how they feel. And then when you do your layering to get your full, you'll see that the blends for these two vibrant blues weren't quite as smooth. It's not that they couldn't be smooth. Maybe I wasn't prepared for there to be as much sticky in the blues, so that I didn't layer quite right, where other colors are perfectly blended, so smooth. And even the purple is a little bit, you can see a little more. I would have to go back and forth with some more layering to try to blend them out absolutely perfect. But a great set of pencils. I think that they, for the price, I got them on sale. I don't remember exactly what I paid without having my sheet open, but in the 30s price range. I think they're 47 right now, and they're already discounted. So I was in the 30s, maybe even I got them for the low 30s. So I got a pretty good deal. I pretty much wait until something is a really decent deal before I buy them. So now I want to share the Prang. This was the sheet that I shared when I did my Prang review, and you can see between the three, I used the blender pencil on just this one. This is my style. of coloring that I use for card making. And the blue outline, if you remember, that is my trick to hide. I use it mostly with markers. The alcohol markers, you use this blue outline to hide or mitigate any, if you overlap at all and you want to hide that, this is a great way to hide it. And it also works with the pencils, and it really makes the colors pop. And I went ahead and went over with the blender pencil, which was the Color blender, and it did a very nice job. And then this is my more realistic version with more colors, not blended. So now I'm going to share the colors that I picked. Oops, I have bent my paper. And I have not blended, I blended the frog, but not anything else. The flowers and the blue outline, which isn't finished yet, is that vibrant all on its own. But you will see when I did light coloring, if you're a person who just wants to color and wants to relax and doesn't want to get really intense with your coloring, you can achieve this. This was very easy to achieve. I didn't have to try really hard. The background is a very faint blue, and I actually did use the side of the pencil. The color name on this one's kind of funky because they call it cobalt teal blue, but it is like a sky blue to me. So it matches the sky blue for the praying colors. So some of the color names might be a little bit off, just not traditionally, but I went ahead and did this light blue just by taking the side of the pencil and coloring very lightly. I can actually see my additional colors, so you have to be soft. These colors are very pigmented, so if you want to do a light treatment, you do need to be somebody who's easy to do a light hand, or it might be cumbersome to try to color them very faintly because they want to be putting down more color naturally. These colors are me using more of like a middle hand, and they just go down pretty thick all on their own. So I really enjoy the pencils a lot. I can show you, zoom in really close, and I will finish the blue, and I want to take the blender to how vivid these flowers turned out. So I am going to go ahead and get super close. And then we will finish what little I have left so you can see. These are a nice thick core. I compared them to the other pencils that I have. I have the Derwent Drawing Out, the Light Fast, the Prismas, the Polys, Pablos, and Luminance. And their core is every bit as wide. I think Drawing and Light Fast are the fattest. But these did not look underrepresented at all. I'm doing a very thick, heavy coat, and then I'm doing a lighter one. And then we're going to blend this out and see what we end up with. This pencil I have not sharpened. I guess I might have half sharpened it. These do sharpen to a nice sharp point, and they hold their point well. I like to rotate my paper. I believe I have said that, especially when I'm doing drawings that I want the direction to be significant to the item. Like these petals, I made sure that I was drawing lengthwise of the petals, and then I would rotate for the next petal, rotate for the next petal. That just gives it a more natural look. To me, it's kind of a freebie way to get the natural look. Oops, I'm off the page here. I want to make sure you guys can see my coloring. So I want to go and do a lighter outer layer. Yes, and somewhat like that. So I was telling my mom the next pencils that I wanted to be swatching. I have the Color 120 3.3 thick core. I have the 180 3.8 thick core that I can't wait to see if there's really a noticeable difference between the two. I bought the 120s as a potential for people to look at who come to color, because that particular set comes in a round tube container and includes the color blender, a sharpener, and a white gel pen, which I thought was a nice complete set for a beginner colorist to try if they want a nice pigmented laydown. So I've been working on that swatch chart, but the Arrtx I'm way further along, so I wanted to get this finished off. So I stopped swatching and worked on these coloring projects and what do I think about them and how do the cores look and how do the barrels look and feel. All right, I think I am ready to get the blender out and see what we end up with. After we get this all blended. I'm trying to get like a lighter outer layer, which is hard to do with these. Because they just, on this is the smooth side of the Bristol Vellum. But the Bristol Vellum, even on the smooth side, just really grabs the ink, which is funny, the pigment, which is funny because I don't feel like a drag on the pigment. It kind of glides pretty smooth. All right, so I am going to grab the colorless blender. This comes in a 4-pack. I got the pencils from Temu. I ordered them a while back and have been using them. They're a little bit drier, not as pigment feeling as, say, the Derwent colorless blender, which is probably my all-time favorite colorless blender. I'm not coloring in the frog because he has already been brightened. I do feel that there are some crumbs with the certain colors. I noticed when I was working on getting a full saturated laydown of some of the colors, like the blues and the purple, there were crumbs, and you need to be careful when you know there's going to be crumbs and not wipe them with your hand, even though I have a very hard time remembering to not do that. So this blue, there's a little bit of crumbs going on. And I have handy it's just a Nouveau, it's a crafter. I got it from a crafting online store. Probably like Scrapbook Pal, I want to say. You will get pigment. This has blue pigment on it, so I am going through doing the blue first, and then I will try to go through and do the pink and then the green. All I am seeing here with the pigment is anywhere that isn't full saturated pigment, like if there's any little white of the paper, I'm seeing that get filled in. So that is what I am looking for. I will probably go back and do a little more. I'll thicken up the lines and even them up. I think if somebody wanted to have the Arrtx as their coloring book pencils, that they will be doing a very lovely job. I am not sure how well they do on all the different papers, though I feel I have gone to the extremes. I used the Nina Super Smooth, and they did great. And now I've done the Bristol Vellum. It's the smooth side, but it still does have tooth to it. And they've done a good job on both papers thus far. And then the color samples where you saw my coloring of the different pencils for how they feel, the laydown feels, that is as just copy paper. And I think I did just about every high-end pencil. I don't own Holbein's, so that's the only one that is a quote-unquote color fast professional pencil. I will be doing some, because I'm in Florida, I don't have any sunny windows. This house was built to be cool and comfortable in the heat and the humidity. So I have to figure out a good way to lay out a swatch, protect it somehow so it can be outside in the direct morning sun. We do have morning sun going into our front of our house and in the garage. And I want to see how quickly the colors will fade, as much for myself as for anybody who wants to color with me, so that we don't be tempted to create any artworks that we want to frame and put on walls or give as gifts, because I have the feeling that some of these lovely made in China pigmented pencils are going to fade. So I'm going to switch now. I am cleaning off, and all I do to clean off the blender is run it on copy paper until the blue is gone and it looks clean to me. And now I'm going to do the flowers. I'm going to just do the pink petals, trying to smooth out and you can see that it goes all the way. I can see it darkening even out to the edges. Yeah, see, I see it stretching out. So if I wanted to even soften it up, I can extend my pencil even out to the very white, like that. I don't know if you can see it, but I can see that it's adding just a little bit of a gray tone. And I think that's not a bad plan to make the white not quite be so bright. Yeah, this is really moving around the pigment nicely. Alternatively, I could use a white to do this. The white of the Arrtx, if you looked on my swatch, let's see how the white did. I don't think the white, there is the white and there is the black. The white is just for me, pretty much non-existent. So I will be using the color of the paper for my white where at all possible. And if I need to, I will grab a white. I have extras of the Museum Aquarelle white, the Derwent drawing white. I have Prisma whites. I have extras of those. So I've got other whites. I'm not expecting the whites on these inexpensive pencils to really be anything special or even usable, though they still would work as a blender pencil if you didn't have a blender. A specific blender pencil, because it won't be laying down a bunch of white, mixing in the white, because if you use a whitish that actually does white, it will flatten your colors. So that is what the flowers look like now. Let's compare. I haven't done the leaves yet. Here's the pink that I have. You can see the pink there. I hope I can't tell if it's focusing or not for you. There we go. Oh, that worked. So there's the pink. I am going to grab my scratch paper and I'm going to just look at all that pink that is coming off. So I don't want that to be going into my green. We'll do the green, which is minimal, and then we will compare this to the praying. Now keep in mind, the prangs are like $5, $5.25, $5.95 for the 50 pack, and I bought mine at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. So this comparison is not to belittle the prangs. I think that for what the cost is for them, and certainly for what I paid, they are a fantastic pencil. I think that these pencils might be really good for somebody who has maybe arthritic hands, isn't able to put down a lot of layers, because these are not going to need a lot of layers to actually get the vibrancy. I actually think on these flowers, I only went over them one time for each color. Light, medium, dark. I know a lot of people go dark first. I actually have the habit from Copic coloring and alcohol marker coloring. I have the habit of doing light, because once you have the light and your paper is wet, it's easier to get the blends. So there you have it. The middle is done with the yellow, the cadmium yellow light, and the iron oxide brown. There is our beautiful frog. It is a glossy finish when it's burnished. Let's see if I can show you the burnishing. but it's not too bad. And then let's compare. I'm going to take this frog out. I'm also going to show you the praying swatch. So here is the comparison of these two frogs. Definitely a more vibrant laydown on the right, but the praying still, I think, looks really good. And then here is, again, this is the praying, and this is a light coloring, and they look very similar. So next up, I will do my final frog, and I'll come back. Maybe when I come back to do the metallics, I will share how this frog turned out. I think that's all I've got. Oh, I was going to show you the color palette of the prangs. This is on the Bristol Vellum. I did not put them on the smooth. I knew that they would, I think I do have them on smooth, and they were very, very faint. So let's bring the camera out. And I feel that just looking at these, here's the pinks, that they don't look too bad. The prangs still are a nice pencil. All right, so that's all I've got. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns on this video. Do all the YouTube things, like, share, and subscribe. I still haven't got a lot of people adding comments. My subscribers is growing greatly. Be sure to share if you feel that this channel would be of interest to any of your colorist friends, so that I can continue to grow the channel, which is my goal. And as always, thanks for watching.